How's it going, my truant people? DrSlaking, the Slacking Doctor, back on Pokemon Showdown for week 1 of the NPL Minors, and that feels incredible to say that. First off, before anything else, I had to give a huge shout out to you guys because your support on the NPL tournament was remarkable, and that's really, you know, was the best thing for me about that tournament. The support on the videos on the channel were fantastic, and I don't think we would be here without that support, so thank you so much. And we're now here, we're here in NPL Minors, which is absurd to say, but we are here, and this week we're going up against the St. Louis Bulus, coached by DeeTrain. DeeTrain, really nice guy, but terrifies the life out of me. I think he's a terrific battler. I just think he's a very intimidating opponent. I've watched quite a few of his videos and really enjoyed them, so I definitely recommend checking out his side of this battle, and I recommend checking out every other Minors coach. They should all be linked down in the description. I don't know quite how that's working, but they should all be down there. There's a lot of us around, so definitely go and check out as many as you can and show support, show some love. But shout out to my front office as well, because I don't remember this battle happened a few weeks ago, full disclosure, and I actually recorded a live com for it, but I didn't have this fantastic layout that we have now, so shout out to Trev for that. I don't know who made the layout, but thank you to him for sending it to me early, because I'm going on holiday in literally like 24 hours, so I've got so much to record, so much to upload. But regardless, you'll notice that my clothes are going to be the same in week 2, because I'm recording that immediately after this. But I don't remember who helped me prep, but shout out to whoever helped me prep, thank you to them. I think that's all the shout outs I've got to do. Let's jump into it, let's talk about this team. Now, my memory's a little bit hazy, but I can talk you through mostly what we have here. So we have a Life Orb Torn, just supposed to be a Breaker. I believe it does have Defog on it, rather than Taunt. It has Hurricane, and it has U-Turn as well. Hurricane, Defog, U-Turn, and I'm not sure what the final move was. Can't remember. I think it might have been Toxic. Then we have a Rawstberry T-Tar. If I remember, I will put the team down in the description, so if you want to check out the Poker Paste, check out the Poker Paste. Then we have a Rawstberry T-Tar with Pursuit and Crunch. It's also a Nerve set, which looks weird, and it's a bit of a bluff, and I'll get onto that in a second. And it's also the rocker on this team. Then we have a Banded Bufalon with like Head Charge, Wild Charge, all that good stuff. Then we have a fully Fizz Def Leftovers, Scald, Ice Beam, Toxic, Slack Off, Slowbro. Then we have a Fizz Def Volcarona, very Fizz Def, not much attacking investment at all, with like Roost, Flamethrower, Toxic, and Will-O-Wisp. And then finally we have a Drill, which is a Choice Scarf Mold Breaker Drill with like Exeter Earthquake, Iron Head, and Rapid Spin. Whew, I remembered most of that. I really should have refreshed my memory before, but I didn't. So regardless, I remembered most of that. And looking at my opponent's team, you might be wondering, like, why, for example, Fizz Def Volcarona? Well, my opponent also has a Mega Mawile, which he decided not to bring. And I, of course, on my draft have a Mega Medicham, which I decided not to bring. So quite fittingly, we both prepped pretty heavily for the two powerhouse legendary Megas that we both have, and neither of us brought them. So, but regardless, I still think that Volcarona can be very useful against this team, and so can a lot of my other things. Bufalon, yes, it might be a bit of a meme, but Banded Head Charge really blows through things apart from that Cuffagrigus, so that's exactly why we have Unnerve, Pursuit, and Crunch T-Tar. With the Unnerve, we can stop him being Colbur Berry, because I do think Colbur Berry is a likely bring on that. And with the Rawstberry, we can stop his Will-O-Wisp. So if he stays into Will-O-Wisp, not wanting to risk the Pursuit play, thinking he's Colbur, we can Crunch straight through that Colbur, and we won't get burnt because we have the Rawst on there. So that's the kind of tech. This team I pretty much built myself from memory, and then tested against Strumpful, and the Volcarona set put in work, and it was a really good test. I don't remember the full details though. But let's get into the actual match and what we did here. So we decided to leave off with Tornadus, and the reason for that is, if he decided to lead off with his Azelf and just get rocks up, I wanted my Defogger in to get rid of those rocks as early as possible. I didn't have Taunt on this thing, but I wanted to try and get those rocks down if he did that. But also if he was Sash, Rocks, Boom, I wanted something that could pressure him offensively and maybe force him out or force him to think about it. So with that in mind, we do lead off with Skyward. Shout out to Strumpful, that's named after his Taunt. He always nicknames his Taunt that. And he actually goes for the Magic Coat, which is phenomenal prep, predicting my Taunt, trying to bounce it back. But obviously we just pop off the Hurricane and miss, which sucks, because that would have then put him down to his Sash, and we then would have killed him this next turn. He would never have got Rocks up. So that miss really sucks, because it did let him get Rocks up. So turn 1 of the NPL, we miss a Hurricane, but that's fine. It's Hurricane, it misses. That's exactly what it does. We U-turn for the kill because we may as well. We bring in Sean because I want to see what his kind of switch is in for that. And he goes into 9,000, like, okay, this thing presumably has freeze dry, but I just value getting a toxic off on it, because if he makes a prediction or whatever, I'm in a bit of a bad spot. I don't have great switches to this thing anyway, and I know I can regen it off. That's the beauty of a regen mod, and I value a toxic on this thing so highly because I'm a little bit scared of this thing. It can put in some work. And then he pivots out into the Zygarde, trying to take advantage, I think, of the of my Slowbro being at low health and not being able to ward this thing effectively, as I pivot into Drill on the potential freeze dry and covering pretty much any other switch he can make fairly effectively with Drill here. Obviously, we do reveal here that we're Mold Breaker, and he's probably thinking, is that like a misgen or whatever, but I pivot back into Slowbro. Now we're at a good range of health. He goes for the Dragon Dance here, and I'm like, that's fine. I still take a Dragon Dance 1,000 arrows from this range. I don't think this is one of his Z Captains, so my Ice Beam is pretty free here. I'm not going to Toxic, because that could be a potential choke, so I'm just going to Ice Beam. As he pivots out into Slowbro, I get an extra turn of leftovers. The Halo goes down, so I don't take any more chip. And Slowbro now gets to get his regen. As he goes out into this, because he doesn't want the Politoed being toxic. But I pivot into Bouffalon, and here, I finally got Bouffalon inside, so I'm just going to click that big banded head charge. And if he thinks he can outspeed me and kill me, he can, but he's going to take a hell of a lot of damage. And if he pivots into Cofagrigus, which he does, that's no skin off my nose, because I have Barney in the back, deliberately built to take this thing on. So we're just going to pivot out into Tyranitar. And now, like I say, a nerve pops, and he's in a difficult position, because if he tries to switch out on a pursuit, even if he is Cold Berry, he's going to take a lot. And he goes for the Trick Room, and I'm like, that's not great, but it's not the worst thing in the world. Bouffalon under Trick Room, if I kill this thing, looks amazing. So I'm just going to go for the Crunch here and fire that off. He gets Hidden Power fighting off and does quite a lot because we're pretty offensive. We don't have our Sand to help us eat that up. But we get massive damage with that Crunch. So, you know, swings and roundabouts. We take more damage, but we also do a lot more damage. And this thing now at 7% basically isn't really a defensive check to Drill or Bouffalon. And I really want to make sure that I can keep my Drill to sweep at the end game. That's the target here, is to sweep with end game Scarf Drill. So here I'm just going to pop off the Wild Charge. We're going to lose our Mummy, but what I deliberately want to do is, with one turn of Trick Room left, he can't go to Politoed, he can't go to anything else pretty much. He has to go into the Zygarde, and that's exactly what I want, because that gives me my Slowbro for free. And now Slowbro is back at full health and can really take this thing on, so he gains nothing by getting Zygarde in. So he goes for the Dragon Dance, and I'm like, that's fine, this Slowbro is built to take you on. He knows it, I know it, so I'm just going to go for the Toxic, because this time I'm confident he's not staying in. He's seen that I've got the Ice Beam, he's seen that this is always my Zygarde check. So the Politoed comes out, we get a Poison on it, and I'm like, right, we're in a pretty nice spot here. I'm going to go into Bouffalon and potentially sack it off, potentially take a hit, depends what he's going to go for. Bouffalon was pretty low, and it didn't necessarily outspeed any of his remaining team members, so I was like, if we lose Bouffalon, we lose Bouffalon. It's done its job here by allowing me to pivot around and get a Toxic on this Politoed, get a Toxic on Ninetales and stuff like that. He actually outspeeds me here, and this should have told me something. He outsped me there and killed me with Scold. Didn't really think about it at the time. I think I had enough speed in my Bouffalon to outspeed a min-speed Politoed, so I maybe should have thought something about that, but I didn't. I was just like, alright, he kills me. I was sacking the Bouffalon anyway. I didn't expect to go for Toxic. I go into Torn here. Now, this is a really big play. I calc this. Like I said, it did originally record live com for this, so you would have seen this, but the graphics and stuff were wrong, so I'm not uploading it. But here I calced this, and I saw that like even a Life Orb Ice Beam is going to do like 35%, 35 to like 40%, I think. It's not going to do a lot anyway, and I'm at 76%, so I'm like, I'll tank an Ice Beam. I'm definitely going to outspeed him because I'm fast. I'm fast enough to outspeed him with a max speed Politoed. And if he's like Scarf, Scold, it's not going to do too much. So I'm like, I've got nothing to fear. All I've got to do is defog this turn. I've still got one turn of rain after this, and then I get a 100% accurate Hurricane off against his team, and he has no switch into that. So, and I can regen this back off. So, fine, I'm going to stay in and I'm going to defog this turn so that my Volcarona becomes more useful. And he actually has a Z user on his Politoed, and I just completely forgot. This is just lazy prep and memory by me. I forgot what his Z users were. I didn't consider Z Politoed, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, you know what? That's not the end of the world, because here we can just go into Volcarona. We're guaranteed to kill this thing, and it doesn't let anything set up, right? The Necrozma can't set up on me. The Zygarde can't set up on me because I can Will-O-Wisp it. So Volcarona is just the best thing to go into here, because I guarantee to live one hit from anything that he goes into next, and I guarantee to kill the Ninetales with a Flamethrower. I guarantee to weaken the Necrozma and put it down very low with it. I think I do have Bug Buzz, maybe? Flamethrower, Roost, Will-O-Wisp. Not sure. Maybe. But either way, I'm in a good spot. He can't bring the Necrozma in on me realistically, because he's got to fear the Bug Buzz. So here I'm like, I think I do have Bug Buzz, otherwise how do I kill this? But he actually turns out to outspeed me. Yeah, we do have Bug Buzz. I thought we did. And I'm like, that's really bad. And that's where I'm saying I should have maybe thought about when the Bouffalant got outsped. And when I saw the ICMZ, I should have looked at my Volcarona spread and thought, did I bother to speed creep a max speed Politoed with my Volcarona? And the answer is no, I didn't. I don't think I had much speed in this Volcarona at all. I had a little bit maybe, but not much. And that's super, super bad now, because now Volcarona is essentially useless. It dies to everything coming in. Instead of being a check to everything left on his team, it dies to everything on his team. Had I gone into Excadrill there, Scarf Excadrill always outsped the Politoed. I've seen he's not Scarf, I know he's Z. I always killed him with Earthquake. What does it let in? Well, it lets the Zygarde in, but I still have my Slowbro at full health in the back, so I never fear Zygarde, and if he pivots out into Necrozma, I get to get a Toxic on the Necrozma. If he pivots out into the Ninetales, I get to pivot out into my, or I stay in with my Drill, and I just kill it. So, going into Excadrill there and clicking Earthquake was a no drawback play. 100% my best play, always. But instead, I just assumed that my Volcarona was faster, and because it threatened everything else in his team, I wanted him to go Zygarde now so I could burn it. That was my thinking. So I'm like in a really bad spot here, and I'm like, that was such a stupid play. So he goes into the Necrozma. I believe I just go for the Bug Buzz here to try and put some damage on it. I might have gone for the Will-O-Wisp to burn it in case it was like an SD set. I don't quite remember. I might have even gone for the Roost. I'm not sure. Now I've got to go into Slowbro and try and wall this thing and get some damage off on it as he does reveal to be SD. And I get a Toxic off, and I'm like, decent. Now I'm going to pivot into Drill, and hopefully Sean can just... Oh, no, sorry. I take the knockoff, and I go for the Slack off, I think. Just to keep it a good range of health. And I go for the Scold. Get a good bit of damage on. Now I go Drill, because I'm like, okay, he's not going to knock again. Knockoff doesn't kill, right? He did 58 when I had an item. He's not going to kill with the next knockoff, so I could just slack off and wall this thing forever. So he's not going to go for a knockoff again. He's going to go for like a Shadow Ball or a Shadow Claw or whatever kind of coverage he has if he has some of the coverage. It won't just be another knockoff. So I'm going to pivot into Drill, get Slowbro back up to good range of health, because crucially Drill cannot 1v1 as a Zygarde. So I'm going to go into Drill here, and then I'm going to go for Earthquake, and that still puts me in a good spot to potentially win this game. Although it's very difficult, but he does go for the knock. I lose my Scarf, and now I'm outsped by everything on his team apart from this Necrozma. And that puts me in a really, really bad position. I can go for the X's here and kill this. But now, this Drill gets outsped and killed by the two remaining things on his team, which means it's all on Slowbro to try and win this game. The Freeze Dry will be able to pick me off from this range, so I'm like, damn it. Now I got to go into Sean, and I've got to try and take Freeze Dries from this thing, and then 1v1 the Zygarde as well. Now, fortunately, he is Toxic, but that Freeze Dry does 60%, and with the Hail Chip and without my leftovers... There's no way. We've lost this game at this point. So, GG to my man DeeTrain. Sucked. I'm so gutted because I feel like I played like the first 15 turns of this game pretty much perfectly. I was really happy with my positioning. I was really happy with my control over like the tempo of the game and the way things were going. I was really happy with the way I was preserving my checks. And then the crucial turn was one, his fire prep. Like, let's not lie, he brought some heat prep. The crucial turn was here. When I decided to defog rather than Hurricane, I'm not sure that was my best play because I risked Skyward here. And Skyward outspeeds everything on his team and does massive damage to everything on his team with Hurricane. And Drill was really in a position where it was close to just winning with Scarf Earthquake. I needed maybe, I don't know, 50% on the Necrozma, maybe 50% on the Zygarde. I'm not quite sure, maybe a little bit more than that, but whatever. I needed a little bit of damage on both, but the combination of a full health Slowbro and a Scarf Drill plus 100% accurate Hurricanes for 2 more turns would have just cleaned me up this game, I think. I think I didn't need to defog, but I was like, oh, do you know what? Volcarona has a fantastic matchup. And it turns out Volcarona got outsped by both the Politoed and the Necrozma and the Zygarde. So actually Volcarona wasn't that great because it didn't outspeed 2 of the main things I expected it to outspeed. So that's really where I choked this game away, I think, by trying to play too intricate, by trying to preserve too much and assuming I could take a hit from this Politoed. What I should have done is I should have just been like, nah, there's no point. I don't need to defog. The Volcarona is irrelevant in this matchup. I don't know the Necrozma set. I don't know the Politoed set. So I should have just Hurricaned and then got a bit of chip off with Slow or a bit of chip or whatever and just worn things down until Scarf Drill swept. And that was a very, very real possibility in this game, but I kind of choked it away. So, and even then, even after I sacked off the Torn, in my opinion, I still had a fantastic chance if this turn I went into Excadrill and I Earthquaked. Because like I said, I still had a great pivot into the Zygarde in the Drill, and I still had a great pivot into the Ninetales in our Volcarona. I still had plenty of things left I could do in this game, had I gone into drill rather than Volcarona and taken all that damage with Volcarona. So many regrets with this one, but that is meant to take nothing away from my man DeeTrain, who played a fantastic game, who is fully deserving of his W. He made the right play, double knockoffing, not allowing me to make that play. It was 100% his best play, and he made it, so shout out to him. Yeah, and I feel like I kind of choked this one a bit, but I don't mean that to discredit him in any way. So regardless, your Bowland Bovines do go 0-1 week 1. But I think there's promise here. I think against one of the people that I consider to be one of the most scariest battlers around, to run him to the point where we definitely had a shot at winning this game, I think is something to be proud of. So moving on next week, we're going to learn from this. That's what this channel is all about. If you're new here and you didn't catch me saying this in the draft analysis and stuff, this channel is all about learning. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to learn from some of the best battlers around in this league, and hopefully we can have a community that will all learn together. So there's definitely some stuff to be learned here, and it's sometimes not to overcomplicate and not to assume. Don't assume your opponent's sets. Just get damage sometimes. Just fire off. If you're in the driving seat, keep plowing forwards, you know, and I didn't do that. I kind of let my foot off the gas and it cost me. So yeah, I'm going to shut up now. That's my thoughts on this one. As I say, GG to DeeTrain. Thank you so much for loafing around with me, and I'll catch you again next time.